It's the Date Master. Yes, we're back again with another video. Make sure you come in, you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and you hit the notification bell. And we're back with another bang. And as I always stated, I'm an unbiased, I'll say creator. We're going to discuss everything that ails the society, the world, and especially the black community, because we are dealing with the most issues from a social aspect, financial, everything about the black community as a whole needs severe attention, critical attention. Yet they try to diminish and marginalize. This is where I would bump heads with the fresh and fits. Of course, you can make the decision again, but we look at it when they attack arguments of women. They attack the arguments that the experience that they talk about is anecdotal or minimal compared to the mass generalizations, right? So they try to marginalize and say that racism is not real. This is not that when it comes to the black, men and women, but that is incorrect. The same way you can't marginalize a woman's experience as far as her perspective. You can't marginalize the black experiences from a black man. They're in Miami, so their views are a little skewed. They have not spent any long times in Atlanta, in the Memphis area, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky, Chicago. They have not spent a long period of time there, so their perspectives are skewed, which is why I say you always look for 82%. You don't look for 100, because you're never going to get that. So we're going to get into Jay Morrison, Dr. Umar, and Brother Polite. If you guys are familiar with these individuals and have been tuned in, this is a long time coming. And I always say the chickens don't just come home to roost for the women. It come home to roost for everybody that's on the bullshit. And here you have three individuals who are prime examples of that. First, you have Jay Morrison with the Trust Fund, in which I almost invested in this. And I said, man, this doesn't sound right. The backing doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. And I also noticed when he added up and running, there was not a lot of pushback. When you're making strides and movements for the black community, you're normally going to be met with a lot of pushback, some resistance. You're going to be met with some type of, I would say, antagonist. With Jay Morrison, he was just running it smooth, and then people start calling him out about the money they lost. And this started years ago. This may be 6 years, maybe 5-6 years in the making. And then you go to Dr. Umar with this school. I got hip to the conscious community back in 2013. That's when I went through my awakening. So I'm 10 years in, which will be this month, actually, on the 13th. I'll be 10 years in as far as taking that seed or taking that pill, if you will. I went to see Dr. Umar Johnson back in, I believe it was 2014, maybe 2014, 2015. And he was talking about this school back then. He's a very good speaker, orator. He can speak. But I started looking at his moves. I started looking at his talking points and looking at what he was actually doing when it came to the school. He was always showing previews of this school, that school. We got a school. It's always been something missing. So he's been doing this school going on about 10 years. Because if he was talking about it in the 14, more than likely he had the idea or he was already in the works of it prior to that. So then I seen him, he had a child. And then he got caught up with the stripper, had another child. Yet he has not married a black woman, in which he pushes on black men to marry. Yet he has not done this himself. Big red flag number one. He's a conscious baby daddy. Now you have to ask yourself, how does one speak all this consciousness and black unity and black family, yet he creates broken black families? How could he be true when he's doing the very thing that he speaks against and not doing the thing that he promotes, which is marrying a black woman in today's time? Last but not least, we're going to go to Brother Polite. Very good speaker, knows his stuff seemingly, but it seems as if he was pretty much biting off, was it Malachi York? He was basically taking a lot of information, studying it and remembering it to where he can pretty much repeat it. So he can recite it. Next thing you know, he's in California. He's in this designer that, all while speaking against the white man when he was on the block in New York hustling. He goes out to California now with all the lavish Robin jeans, Robin hat, Gucci this, posted up with these different women. Only thing I would distinguish Dr. Umar and Polite from Jay Morrison. Jay Morrison is married, so he's in a different type of fraud. Now he's, I believe, getting into the ministry. Coincidence? Absolutely not. But for the two on the right, Dr. Umar and Polite, I see their demise. Not Dr. Umar yet, but just following his pattern. He's on pictures with the likes of Sukiana. On pictures with Sukiana. You see him on a lot of pictures with different type of women. Yet, no real progress or stamp or opening date for this school in which he has swindled millions out of people. No school in sight. And then you got Polite posted up with all different types of women, talking about the white woman is a queen and all this, when his original message was the black man is God and the black woman was God and the queen and all of this. But here you go, Europeanized, fulfilling his lustful desire to feel like he's somebody, because when you saw him on pictures, you did not see him without any designer label or a woman in his photos or the Rolls Royce. Now you have these charges that you're going to sit down. We have too many black men pimping the black community from all different angles, and they're not being shut down. You have a few, but because they create such good content, they know people are going to watch. They use them for the content, not for the message, not for the betterment of the black community, but for the content, because they're great speakers. They know how to be cunning with their tongue. Seems like the likes of a pimp. Hence, pimping in the black community. You got it being done on the Christian side. How do you have churches on every corner, yet so much poverty, sickness, violence in the very vicinity in which you have a church on every corner? Why is the church only open on Sundays for the most part from 10 to 1 p.m.? You have a church on every corner, yet it's only open on Sundays? Okay, let me guess. I'm sorry. Your church has a daycare. Oh, but you got to pay for that too, right? That's not given by the tithes and the funding that it gets from the congregation every Sunday, filling up your collection plate. That's not enough to cover the expense that it would take to provide the child care services, right? So you have some that say, well, we give daycare services, but you have to pay for it. Oh, we do this, yet only 1 day a year. We give turkeys away. Yeah, 1 day a year. Oh, we're feeding the homeless. Okay. You know how it's not a frequent action because they have to film it. Do you film yourself taking a shower every day? So if you're constantly doing something, why is there a constant need to film it? If you're constantly doing good works and doing this, why is there such a constant need to film it and record it? We have too many false idols from the conscious community and from the Christian community. Pimping, and you know who it starts with. Starts with the women. Because men have left the church on one end, and then men are independent thinkers. So we can come to a conclusion pretty quickly. Some it may take a bit. But we can find out who's real or not. From the women, going back to this Carly Russell situation. At the drop of the hat of her report, it went viral within 24 hours. Women believing this woman wholeheartedly. She could not be lying, even though a woman did this same exact shit damn near 3 years ago in the same damn area almost. Yet this one is telling the truth. Women love liars because they are liars themselves. Women came to the aid of Carly Russell because they see Carly Russell in themselves. Women like Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj because they see them in themselves. So it starts, they know who to go after. The women. Dr. Umar always using these pandering talking points, yet he has not married a black woman, yet has 2 black children by 2 different women. Hypocritical at best. We need to do a full cleanse, because if you're not paying attention, the black community is declining rapidly. It is on a rapid decline, rapid regression. And it's because men don't want to stand on business. They'll say just enough until that pussy odometer starts to get low. That pussy meter starts to fall. Oh, but black women, it's not just the women, it's the men too. I mean, black women, y'all good, but too horny for their own good. They're just enough. They're conscious just enough. Red pill just enough. Awake just enough until that pussy meter gets low. Now I got to say the opposite of what I just said on Facebook, because it's going to mess my in-house pussy up, right? So you must be careful of how men talk. They talk one way and then jokingly try to satire their way back with a joke. No. You say something, don't say anything behind it to neutralize it. Stand on what the fuck you say and mean what you say. But just look at these pictures. Go back and just look at all the content and then look at the results. Look at the testimonies that come from these men. A lot of these men have suits going on right now. Lawsuits being sued for fraud. You have somebody talking to you 10 years, yet yield no results. Show no real work, only interviews and photo ops, then you have a fraud on your hands. And you must address it and deal with it expeditiously and with an assertive nature. But we have a lot of frauds in the black community. The black community will still be pimped as long as it is in a matriarchal state, because the women go off feeling, and the first person that says something that tickles their ear, they're all in. Or something that triggers their emotions, they're all in. And this is why the black community will rapidly decline, and you're being replaced. Again, I did the video about the 60,000 immigrants that Eric Adams in New York bust in right up under your nose. Your ass is going to be replaced because all you want to do is twerk and go on vacation. But I digress. I won't get into that in this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's the Date Master.